Good evening, board members, Superintendent Dr. Ekchen, and parents. My name is Lucy Petrosian, and I'm the chairperson of the Armenian National Committee of America, Glendale chapter. I am appalled to hear about the incident regarding the students at R.D. White Elementary School. To clarify, I am referring to the Armenian 5th grade graders in the FLAG program who were given an assignment by the two substitute teachers on the week of April 24th regarding the earthquake in Turkey. After refusing to complete the assignment and scribbling over the word Turkey, Armenian students were shamed and reprimanded by the two substitutes for vandalism. To add insult and injury, the substitutes called these students hateful and told students they should be tolerant because, quote, the genocide was 100 years ago and the Turks aren't committing it now. I cannot begin to fathom how these educators felt comfortable enough telling a classroom full of Armenian students that their feelings weren't valid and that their ancestral traumas didn't matter. What those educators failed to acknowledge is that trauma does not disappear, but rather it is passed on to our children and reinforced by the continuing atrocities that are committed to Armenians in the present day in Artsakh. The truth is that the Armenian genocide is not over. The problem lies in the lack of genocide education for school faculty. It is vital for all teachers to be well educated on culturally sensitive topics, such as the Armenian genocide and the current ethnic cleansing in Artsakh. Armenian students should not suffer due to the incompetence of adults who do not understand how this affects our youth. The ANCA is confident that Dr. Ekchen will correct this issue and mandate proper training for all educators. To the parents of the Armenian students involved, the ANCA is with you and supports your cause. And Mr. Davis, you forgot to mention the Armenians.
And we are referring that to Dr. Ekchen for follow-up. And the next set of cards, 4 minutes apiece, is starting with Karen Carlson.
Thank you. My name is Karen Carlson, and I've been a teacher, counselor, administrator, and I'm also a licensed therapist in this school district. Years back, I had the misfortune to be in a 6-hour lockdown with Dr. Kelly King. An armed gunman ran into the apartments above her school playground. The poise, judgment, her willingness to risk her life to protect her students makes the divisive behavior of late emotionally scarring, especially to our children. Like feuding spouses, we must love our children more than we hate each other. These are bewildering times, but the ground between differing...
Ms. Carlson,
yes.
I'm so sorry. I just gently am jumping in so that we can put this in the other topic and have you have a minute, please.
All right.
All right. Thank you so much.
These are bewildering times, but the ground between differing opinions is both emotionally and intellectually fertile. To listen, to reject name-calling, exaggeration, shallow solutions, to reach across in trust, knowing we all want our children to learn and grow, to foster their talents, their highest aspirations. It is more than math and reading. Join us in this sacred work that our district, community, and very world depend on. Thank you.
Okay, and that's what we'll do. You know, we'll figure out as we're going along, make sure that the cards are in the right sections. And so we have, the next topic has 4 cards, so 5 minutes, and we're starting with Riley Sison.
Good evening, Superintendent and board members. My name is Riley, and I'm a student at Glendale's Online College and Career Academy. OCA is a 4-year Glendale high school that's 100% online, where students could complete college courses and possibly earn a business or marketing certificate or an AA degree, depending on how motivated they are. In addition to that, students can learn at their own pace, so there's a lot of flexibility in terms of course completion. And the academic plans are individualized based on the student's academic goals. These are the reasons I joined OCA. Currently, my goal is to graduate high school with a marketing certificate and complete some additional GE course requirements that will be credited to CSU. Isn't it amazing that a GUSD student could accomplish all of these at the end of high school? Sadly, 2 weeks ago, Dr. Milano and Dr. Root met with the OCA students and parents, telling us that OCA as a high school is ending because of low enrollment. So the current OCA students, like myself, are being moved to Verdugo Academy under the OCA pathway. What's bothersome is that days after our meeting with Dr. Milano and Dr. Root, we found out that the OCA funding was ending June 2023. Yes, next month. Take note, this is only our 2nd year in high school, and we're being told just now that the funding is ending this June. So GUSD sold us a 4-year high school, despite knowing from the start that there's only 2 years of funding for this school. It's like being invited to a John Wick movie marathon with popcorn and drinks, but after the 2nd film, you're told that the 3rd and 4th films are going to be shown in low resolution and in black and white, and popcorn and drinks will no longer be served because the event sponsors ran out of money. That would suck. Big time, right? I'm not an expert on anything yet, but to me, this doesn't even make sense. Offering a 4-year program with a 2-year funding, what am I missing? Honestly, I have so many questions about GUSD's commitment to us when we signed up for OCA and the current state of OCA. But the question that keeps repeating in my mind is why? Why must we, the OCA students, suffer because of GUSD's poor planning, poor budgeting, ineffective advertising, and lack of transparency? On the bright side, this whole experience is a learning experience for us OCA students. We learned that this is how the real world works. We learned that life is not fair because there are people who make it unfair. We learned for some people it's easier to pack up and just close up shop. We learned that community leaders can fail us if they are not transparent and truthful, especially if they exclude those who will be impacted out of the conversation. Seriously, none of the GUSD administrators, except for our teachers and counselors, have reached out to us and asked us how we feel about this. Some of you haven't even acknowledged receiving the emails we or our parents sent, and that's such a letdown. We were misled from the beginning, and now we're being ignored. Lastly, we learned that we must stand up for and speak up if something isn't right. Dr. Root said we must advocate for ourselves. That's why I, along with my classmates, are here today. It's not too late. Listen to us. Work with us. We are close to finishing high school, so we hope that you will sit down and meet with us and our parents to discuss how we can improve this situation. Thank you.
We will give a short correction in a minute, but let us hear from Nicholas Danielian, and then Diana Saroyan, and then Moses Trana.
Good evening, Superintendent and board members. My name is Nicholas, and I'm a current student at OCA Online College Career Academy. And I'm here to express my and my classmates' disappointment with the decision to end OCA and place us under Verdugo Academy, who knows nothing about the program. For 2 years, students, parents, and teachers put time, dedication, and effort into being a part of this program. These past 2 years, I have worked harder than I ever have, and so has every other student who was a part of this. So when I learned that the district would be shutting down the program, I was pretty upset. And when the reason why was revealed to be that there was not enough people who wanted to join, I became confused. The classes and pathways that OCA offers are so unique. What other high schools provide the opportunity to learn about business and marketing and even the chance to participate in a paid internship? The only reason why there were no students wanting to join was because of how poorly the promotion of the program was handled. I'm disappointed because the students, parents, and teachers did their part. We put the time and effort in, yet we are being punished for something that is not in our control. We were promised a 4-year program, but USD didn't keep their word, which only sets a bad example and teaches us that it's okay to not keep your word and give up. All we ask for is the very least, the bare minimum. Thank you.
Diana Sayadian.
Good evening, Superintendent and board members. My name is Diana, and I am also a 10th grade student at Glendale's Online College and Career Academy. I am also here to speak on behalf of the OCA students. We were starting to gain confidence in taking on more college courses and working towards our business and marketing certificates, or AA degrees. But the news about OCA not continuing as a school anymore has negatively affected our morale. We've already invested 2 years in OCA, and we've put in a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into this program. It's been difficult juggling high school classes with college courses, but our current OCA support team, our teachers, Ms. Kokosian and Mr. Revelo, and our counselor, Ms. Maksudian, have shown great love for us OCA students. They have been doing everything to provide us with the best learning experience, have been giving us the guidance that we need to achieve our academic goals, and have been providing us with social and emotional support. Our current accomplishments wouldn't have been possible if it weren't for them. To add insult to injury, GUSD is taking them away from us. Our teachers and counselor, who have been with us since the pandemic, will no longer support us in the last 2 years of our high school. It's like someone in GUSD just sitting in a tiny cubicle, trying to figure out how they could possibly make things more difficult and challenging for us students. And this is what they came up with: end the great school and remove their support system. All of this has been a major source of distraction for most, if not all of us. Seriously, it's hard to focus on our studies when we're worried about getting a new counselor and new teachers who are not familiar with our flexible schedules and personalized academic plans. GUSD promised that our emotional support needs would be met when we made a 4-year commitment to be a part of OCA, and unfortunately, they broke that promise. The decision to end OCA and to get rid of the teachers and counselor, who have done everything to support our academic, emotional, and social growth, is causing unnecessary stress and anxiety for our students right now. It's not fair and it's not right for GUSD to make a decision that's causing us mental anguish and not even ask us OCA students how we all feel about this. We hope that you will find it in your hearts to sit and meet with us and our parents, so we may find ways to lessen or remove this sense of insecurity that's been troubling us since we learned that we're losing our trusted teachers and counselor. All of us just want to focus on reaching the academic and career goals we have planned without being emotionally drained because of decisions that school administrators make, which affect our futures without even involving us. Thank you.
Mr. Moses Trana?
Yes, I'm here to read what my daughter, which is also the OCA student. And first of all, I want to say thank you for the opportunity to give us, the board of directors, to hear our kids and hear us as parents, at least one of them. Let me just get that statement in a second. Isabella Trana says, I am writing to express my disbelief and my disappointment at the recent news that the funding for the OCA program will end this June. Despite only being in our second year, we are in shock that the Glendale Unified School District sold us a 4-year high school program, knowing from the start that there was only 2 years of funding for the year. We are struggling to understand how offering a 4-year program with only 2 years of funding even makes sense. I feel like we have been deceived and let down by the GAUSD lack of commitment to our education. We urge you to please to take immediate action to address the situation and find a solution that will allow us to continue our education without interruption. it is essential that we receive the support and the resources that we promised when we first enrolled in the OCA program. This has caused me mental and physical stress and anxiety, which making it hard for me to focus on my education. Please, please fulfill the requests of all the parents as well as the students. And in continuing to that, basically as a parent, it's been very difficult to see my daughter and also to see my son. We were hoping to put him in this program. We were waiting for OCA to continue in the 9th grade. And it's to see the other kids who express their feelings about this situation, and to see other parents asked to be devoted and committed to this program, and to see now how it ended in a brief moment, in a meeting, less than an hour, we were told the program was ending. I'm sure you will find the time and effort, just like you would spend the time and effort if this was your own kid. Recently, we heard a teacher honoring the teachers, how the education and how they are role models, and how we care for for their future, and how to better themselves and move on to further education. Unfortunately, this now is going to be very hard to do, even though we respect the other programs, but they're not OCA. Even though we respect the other teachers, but they're not OCA's teachers, who've been fully aware and engaged in this program from day one. We would like for you to give us the opportunity, please, to discuss this, to talk to us, and see if we could come up with a better solution, and to listen and hear our cries of help. Because we would like very much to work together with this board of directors. We have good friends. We know of some of you, and we appreciate what you do. We know we can't be perfect in other things, but we certainly would like for you to commit and for you to give the respect and honor that these kids need to hear from you as adults, and me and the rest of the parents, to show them that they have to and they have the right here in the United States to fulfill their dreams, and also to fight for their requests for justice, and also to make sure that we give them the best education. GAUSD is one of the best, if not the best, school district, and we appreciate that. And I know there's a lot of challenges. I could hear it today, but unfortunately, we understand that there's a budget, but we also understand that you have the ability and the power and the desire for you to fulfill and to at least to listen to our request. And we're willing to compromise if we understand that things have to change. But we also are in agreement as parents and students that we need you to listen to our requests for the best, not for you and us, for the best of our students. Let our students, especially like Isabella and anyone else that are in this program, finish with honor this program, and to show that whoever came up with this idea of OCA was a great program. And you'll see that these small students, or little students as you can see, will succeed, and some of them will go to college.
Did we hear from Nicholas Danielian? Yes. Okay, right. So I'm going to ask Dr. Ekchen to clarify some things.
So first and foremost, to the students, I'll be more than happy to meet with you. I know Dr. Milano and Dr. Ruth have discussed this. The program is not ending. Integrating the program into Verdugo Academy is as a result of the fact that we have 12 students in the program. The funding was always as seat funding. The intent was that with additional students, we would be able to expand it. It was something that we felt very strongly about. We wrote it. No one made us actually create the program. It's of highest importance to me, and I'm more than happy to meet with the students. And if you have suggestions in your entrepreneurial work, I accept the suggestions with great respect. May I ask then that Ms. Kortoshian is in the back of the room. If there are parents that didn't speak or students, I have the cards of those that spoke. I'll be happy to connect with you tomorrow, and we'll set up a time. Thank you.
So to clarify, OCA program is not ending. You will be able to stay in an online program for 4 years and have your high school degree. All right. Next card is Sarah, and we would be glad, as we said, to meet. Next card is Sarah Morrison for 5 minutes.
Hello, Dr. Akshian, President Nahabedian, members of the board, especially our student member. Melinda, you're the best thing about board meetings. Thank you all for everything you're doing to support students and educators. I submitted a card tonight to talk about bargaining. I'm the bargaining chairperson for the Glendale Teachers Association, and I am so happy to share that last week, GTA and GUSD began bargaining for our 2022-23 contract, and we are off to a very good start. In the spirit of lifetime learning, it felt like both bargaining teams have grown from our previous experiences and that there was a clear interest in reaching agreements productively. 4 proposals were passed during our first session, and to everyone's relief, all proposals were respectful and achievable. And I'm going to talk about each proposal. First of all, Article 8 evaluations. The district passed an Article 8 evaluations proposal that reasonably reflects the rigorous standards by which California educators, both classroom educators and those who work outside of the classroom, currently do our jobs. GTA's team appreciates how the district's proposal recognizes our English language learner population, which is a student population that's rapidly growing in GUSD. As educators, our ELL students inspire us, challenge us, and bring us great joy and pride. Literally, these are the students that make Glendale schools world-class. So you can expect an equally reasonable counterproposal on May 10th. Article 13, wages. So meanwhile, Glendale educators passed a wage proposal that's also reasonable. We proposed a 5% wage increase for 22-23, which, combined with the 5% wage increase from our previous agreement, would keep GUSD competitive with neighboring districts and ensure that our district can attract and retain the best educators for our existing students and also the hundreds of new students who have enrolled in our schools over the past few months and the many, many more who will continue to enroll over the summer. With new students comes new funding, new hiring, and a dire need for GUSD to become the most attractive school district to make a career. So if now is not the right time to pay GUSD educators better, then when will that time come? Let's follow the lead of Pasadena, Azusa, Covina, El Monte, Whittier, East Whittier, Paramount, LAUSD, and so many other districts in LA County who have found creative ways to use their 13% ongoing LCFF funding to raise educators' wages 10% or more. GTA educators are very excited for your counterproposal on May 10th. GTA also passed 2 MOU proposals. One of them was a childcare MOU. The previous childcare MOU is about to expire. For peace of mind of district educators who rely on district childcare to maintain our full-time jobs, please renew this agreement on May 10th. We also passed a TK MOU. The transitional kindergarten MOU is also about to expire. In that MOU, GTA and GUSD's bargaining teams last year set the foundation for GUSD's TK program to be among the best TK programs in California because we exceed the legal requirement to have 2 adults in every TK classroom. Per our MOU, in GUSD, both of the adults are certificated teachers. One of them is a certificated classroom teacher, certificated to teach elementary, and the other is certificated in early childhood development, which is a preschool qualification. Unfortunately, under our current MOU, the one that's about to expire, the two teachers have been afforded little time or sometimes no time to collaborate. So GTA is proposing that next year, 15 minutes before school and at least 30 minutes after school will be provided for the teachers to work together. We are certain that this MOU proposal will make the TK classroom experience better for our little ones, and we hope it will be signed on May 10th. In fact, we hope that agreements on all 4 of these reasonable and common sense proposals are reached on May 10th, and that, like so many of our neighboring districts, a tentative agreement for 22-23 will be reached before the end of this school year, which is just a few weeks away. But we can do it. It's worth doing. All of these proposals are good for students, and together we can make this happen. Thank you.
All right, and the next card is Rachel Davidson. And one card on this topic.
Hi, everybody. Can you hear me? My name is Rachel. I am a mom to 2 children in the district. I am also a pediatric occupational therapist with a master's in human development and psychology from Harvard University. I am here in my professional capacity, but more importantly, my capacity as a parent, to voice my support for the acceptance of the anti-bias training grant from the Department of Education. We hear a lot about these meetings that any amount of inclusive education amounts to indoctrination or somehow threatens a parent's role and power. But I know from my years of study and experience working with children and their families that the district couldn't undermine a parent's power if it tried. Parents are the central development.
I'm going to pause
Parents
for a
are
moment.
the central developmental figures in a child's life.
I'm going to just pause you for a minute, gentle pause. So I'm going to have you also join the larger group of cards, and if we're going to have to give you 1 moment to 1 minute.
Oh, so I finish this now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
In 1 minute, and so he is adjusting that.
But here's what I have to say. My values and my children's values are in no danger from any policy the district could craft. Not because I have blind faith in the district, but because I know I have power as a parent to raise up my children and shape how they make meaning of this world around them, even if it sometimes leads to difficult or uncomfortable conversations. A policy designed to protect a tiny number of transgendered students might lead to an uncomfortable conversation between me and my children, but it does not threaten my power as a parent. Exposing my children to accurate and inclusive histories of this country might lead to difficult conversations, but it does not undermine my power as a parent. And finally, teaching empathy and other social emotional skills in the classroom actually makes my job as a parent easier. So thank you for that. I want to express my support and gratitude to our district administrators and teachers for devoting their lives to educating our kids in the face of misinformation, disinformation, and harassment. Go Lakers. Thank you.
Okay. And next on the agenda, next speaker is Ani Torosian. And that's one topic. It's 5 minutes.
So I'm here to address item K8 on today's agenda pertaining to the nutrition program compliance. It strikes me as absurd, to be quite transparent and straightforward, that the board is taking public tax time and resources during this meeting today to discuss and address a proposed board resolution to make sure our district's nutrition staff isn't discriminating against students based on, quote, gender identity and sexual orientation. When is the last time we had an issue at our schools that a student went to grab a food item in the cafeteria and a staff member from the food services department stopped them and said, no, you can't have that apple because I think you're X, Y, and Z sexuality.
Okay, Ms. Torosian.
I'm getting to my point.
And you'll have 1 minute because it is, again, the same topic.
But you know what is happening much more commonly And as recently as last week, in true GUSD fashion, I sent an email, simple email, asking for nutritional data for Glendale High School's select menu items so that I can see what my student can or cannot eat based on her dietary issues. It took me 15 days, and I was forced to do a PRA, a Public Records Act request, to get basic nutritional information for my student. And then, when I did get it, all of the PDFs were screenshots and time-stamped 2020, which clearly shows that the department had this nutritional information at their fingertips, but kept it away from me for no reason. So in the tradition of nutritional program compliance, as we're talking about today, why isn't that nutritional information posted online? Why do I have to do a Public Records Act request to get that information? Number one, district staff has clearly been advised by the top down to be as non-transparent as possible with parents. I'm still on nutrition. I'm talking about nutrition. I haven't talked about anything else. I'm talking about nutrition.
Really, Ms. Torosian, we are wanting to keep to the spirit of
I probably said the word nutrition 30 times.
So the 1 minute is up, Ms. Torosian.
No, I get 5
We're going
minutes.
to keep civility and keep to the spirit of the procedures. And it is 1 minute. The spirit of what you're speaking about is very clear.
Nutritional compliance.
She's muted.
You will be held responsible.
All right, guys, hit pause for a second. Give us a moment, please.
So, Ms. Torosian, you are muted. Well, do you want to, as the clerk, have a disposition on this?
So let's give her a minute to wrap up on her nutrition point without going left or right, and just stay focused, and we'll wrap this up.
5 minutes.
Then you'll keep the time right there. Go for it, Ms. Torosian.
And reset the 1 minute. Thank you. District staff has clearly been advised by the top down to be non-transparent with information like this, which makes us wonder if they're not being transparent about nutritional label information. I'm talking about proteins, carbs, calories, ingredient count. What else are they being deceitful about? We clearly saw today students about the OCA program were saying that they feel deceived. Stop the culture of deception, give out the information that we request, and we do not need to do a Public Records Act request to know what ingredients my child is eating at school. Don't pat yourself on the back about nutrition awards today, where you can't even give nutritional information. And by the way, if you guys want that info, the stuff in your kids' food is this long for an egg scramble. So yeah, let's do better when it comes to school nutrition.
All right, the next cards are clearly noted on the subject matter, so we will have a minute each, and we will start with Ray Shelton.
Are we on? This board, as well as the school union, blather on, yapping constantly about being civil, being polite, and being kind. But the truth is, none of you are actually sincere. Mrs. Friedman has been caught on camera calling people homophobes, snarling who disagree with her. Vivian, is that kindness? Is that hate? I'll be too busy counting the $400,000 salary you have. Talene Arsenian and Alicia Harris recently began snarling Nazi at me and parents because she disagrees with them. And in fact, I have one of her emails from her locked account because she thinks we don't know what she's doing. She is running a campaign of hatred against teachers and parents in violation of your policies, Vivian.
Okay, that's 1 minute. And please do send us your comments through email. We do read all of them. Next on the agenda is, or next on the cards, is Arno Akhverdian. There's no such thing. I'm sorry. There isn't. And next is Arno Akhverdian. Because that's actually the policy that we read and the procedures before we start. And we're not debating, so we see that. Arno, come on up. No, you speak and pay attention to the buttons, so it goes red and then yellow and then green.
My name's Arno Akhverdian. I'm a 35-year resident of Glendale. John Marshall, Balboa, Toll, Hoover alumni together, right? Teacher. She was one of my teachers. You guys know what CASP is, right? You guys know what CASP is? Have you seen the results for 2021 and 2022? Hoover High School, the school we attended, 27% is meeting the standard. Glendale High School, the school that bears this city's name, 23%. What is our priority? What is our priority? 13 years I've been doing real estate. One of my main topics, as far as one of my main goals when selling homes was, come to Glendale. The schools are great. We were in the 9s and 10s. You know what we are now? Trulia, Zillow, Redfin, 5s and 6s. Every single one of you has been elected, and you can be recalled. You're my district. You're my parents' district. You guys will be recalled. I promise you.
Okay, next speaker is David Agarzarian. David, are you here? Okay, we can come back if David is outside. Go ahead, David.
Turn it. I wanted to give my minute to someone else, but you guys are not allowing that. But I just want to ask all of you guys to be real with yourselves and realize what you guys are doing to all the parents who care about their kids' life. And I don't know, I'm just at a loss for words right now. Just look in the mirror and be real with yourselves. That's all I ask. Thank you.
And Narine Darevosian.
Is this thing on? All right. The highest law isn't facilitated by government. It's given to us by natural order from God. We still pledge allegiance to him when we stand up, or do you guys not actually believe what you're saying? I was an atheist, and now I'm a full-on believer. I'm not going to talk about this right now, but listen. God does the order. Man and government. You guys are not going to stand here and tell us that we are doing things wrong with our families, and you're not going to turn children against their families. That's for fact. So we can dismember the government, all right? But I don't think we should be dismembering men. And nutritious meals, are you serious? You guys give awards for nutritious meals? Hold on. There's like lead and shit all over the place in these meals. The national school lunch testing for glyphosate, pesticides, heavy metals, hormones, veterinary drugs, and nutrients. Okay, so, and they're also putting like vaccines now in lettuce, you guys. So watch out for that. And anyway, thanks.
And the next card is Yeva Babayan.
Good evening. Every totalitarian tyrannical begins with the removal of parental authority. This was done in Soviet Armenia, where I and many of the communities defected from. This was done in Nazi Germany and, of course, Maoist China. At the last meeting, you clearly showed your disdain for genuine parental concerns about the lack of education. Then you doubled down by sending a propaganda email labeling our concerns as hate speech. Truly despicable behavior, but not unfamiliar to those of us who grew up in the Marxist-Leninist regime. Considering the staggering test scores, you've made it clear that you have zero interest in actually educating our children, because if you did, this wouldn't be happening right now. None of us would be here. Instead, you've signed on the dotted line to fully transition to become a board of indoctrination, not education, actually fulfilling your marching orders as handed down to you from your Orwellian overlords. You know this is true. So, thank you. That was all.
Hasmik Vezirjan is, excuse me, next.
Hello, thank you for having me back. Douglas Murray talked about how every civilization on the brink of collapse gets obsessed with gender. Whether it's the Romans or the Greeks, they all got obsessed with it. It seems like it's the thing to do when there is no actual real conflict. By helping these kids transition before they've had a chance to grow up, change their mind on perspectives, before they have a chance to learn and love their body and identity, you are single-handedly contributing to the downfall of our civilization and our mankind. You are single-handedly contributing to the biggest human experiment in modern day history. Right? I'm asking you all to stand on the right side of history today, to leave your paychecks at the door, tap into your moral compass, and do the right thing. Stand with the parents, stand with the people, stand with humanity.
And next is Peach Davidian.
I'm a proud parent of 3 teenagers. I continue to stand with the Glendale community, and I must start by telling you, you have awakened Mama Bears and Papa Bears. We have so blindly and naively trusted you with our precious innocent children. What you did was break every moral standard of our trust. Not only have you broken our trust and our children's trust, but you have invaded into the minds and spirits of the most precious beings on this earth, our children. You were supposed to be the trusted official, but you did the absolute opposite. You played sheep in wolf's clothing. If our tax dollars are being used to pay for our children's education, you have no other option but to provide them with a fundamental education, such as math, history, English, and science. Parents should be the only ones making decisions for their child's education. Our children are not your lab rats, and you have no authority to keep any hidden information from a parent. Not today, not tomorrow, and not ever. We will fight you to the ground, and we will pull every child from...
Okay, your time is up. And the next card is Tony Passarella.
Good evening, everybody. Tony Passarella, 36-year resident of Glendale and a 13-year basketball teacher. I devoted 13 years of my life, 2 hours a week, to kids in this district, 5 years old to 10 years old, teaching biblical life lessons at the end of every class. Yes. Anytime I hear something that's questionable, and I have kids in that went through my program in every school in this district. Anytime I hear something questionable that's happening, with the children, who I dedicated 13 years of my life to teach them right from wrong? Are you hearing these parents? I mean, do you have ears to hear? Let's do this. My time is running out. Let's do this. Let's show them the power that we have. Everybody, please stand up and hold your signs up if you want Kelly King to go and you disagree. You see the people?
Parents have the power.
You see the people?
You're serving us. You're serving the parents.
And all right. So the next speaker is next card is Tiza. Tiza Atankwe. So really, everyone, we are hearing. I hear you. I hear everybody. So we're going. Do you want the next speaker? Okay. And the next speaker, please come up. Okay, we are going to continue with public comment. Let's hear the next speaker. So let us keep civility. You know, we're not winning or losing based on how loud we are today. That's actually a fact. So let us continue hearing the next speaker. Tiza, go for it.
Hello, my name is Tiza Tonke-Manukian. I am a mom, but today I'm speaking on behalf of my little girl. Sorry.
You got this.
And these are her words. Mr. Shelton is my teacher. He is a very good teacher, and he makes learning fun and easy. Our class has not been the same without him. Our substitute teacher isn't like Mr. Shelton. He gets us ready for tests so we don't fail. Mr. Shelton wants us to be successful in life. Our substitute doesn't do stuff that gets us ready. It isn't her fault because she doesn't know what Mr. Shelton does. I hope he comes back to our class by Thursday open house. Mr. Shelton has been doing so good for our class, and he is the right teacher for me. We all miss him, and we all want him back as our teacher. We all want to be happy in our classroom again. We all want him to be there when we graduate 5th grade. Please let him come back. Sincerely, Samantha Manukian.
Next card is Laura Santo.
Good evening, and thank you for letting me speak today. My name is Laura Santo, and my son is a 5th grade student at Mark Keppel. His teacher is Mr. Shelton. My son has an attention deficit disorder, and he's been struggling with his academic progress all his elementary years, trying to fit in class and making it work with every teacher. While Glendale Unified has been wonderful at providing my child with all the resources and support for his IEP, every single teacher he had these years had been complaining about how he was a distraction in class and not paying attention. And he didn't feel understood and would come home feeling discouraged and not want to go to school the next morning. But all this changed the very first day he started 5th grade. Since day one, my son came out from school with a smile on his face. And that smile tells me, thanks, Mr. Shelton. I am here today to speak on behalf of my son, to make his voice heard and to convey his message to you. He said to me, I want Mr. Shelton back. I think the most affected by this decision are the kids, and they want him back in class.
Arman Petrosyan.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, board members. You see these furious parents,
they're going to multiply. They're going to multiply. They're going to be more and more. And we're going to wake up. We're going to wake up Hispanic community here too. Before it's too late, before you guys are sitting here as a board member, don't get recalled, or for the next election, get rid of Kelly King or the others who's following their satanic, I would call it satanic companion. Yeah, same thing. So, wondering why are all these parents are mad or furious? I wouldn't say mad, because we don't tolerate when something is shoving up to our throat, and especially involving our kids, and yet making this insanity into legislation. So think about what's happening today.
I have an Armand, but that might be the same person with the last name, sir. Your last name? Okay.
You can call me Armand Hopar. That's what everybody refers me to as. I grew up in Glendale, attended Thomas Jefferson Elementary School, and I recall the values that we were taught was treat others the way you want to be treated. That was stated above every classroom's chalkboard. It wasn't mistrust the parents. Let's keep secret files in the administration office so your parents are not aware of what sexual indoctrination you're being taught. You guys have, like one of the moms said, you've awakened mama bears and papa bears, okay? I'm going to make you guys a promise. I, too, am from the Wise Nuts podcast. We are recruiting an army of parents, and I promise every single one of you will be removed from your seats if this nonsense is not ended immediately. That's a promise. It's not a threat. It's a promise.
And C. Cruz is next. C. Cruz, address unlisted.
Okay, I'm going to address the board's comments, last board meeting, after public comment. The parents, the speakers, were all gaslighted. You guys were on camera saying you were appalled at the hate, that parents were misinformed, that parents didn't know what was really being taught. Oh, what was the other one? That parents were looking for demons. Demons in every corner. So let me tell you some of the things that actually have been caught on camera, and you cannot say that they didn't happen, because during the 2021 school year, during online learning, a friend of mine walked into the room as her 7th grader at Rosemont was being told that she wouldn't get pregnant if she engaged in sodomy. Okay? Okay? Now, she asked for a meeting with Dr. Akishian.
And please send your comments, and we do meet with parents. Ms. Cruz? Ms. Cruz, please, Cruz, you're...
Excuse me. Everybody needs to know that their children were taught that anal sex will not lead to pregnancy during the COVID
Okay. So, Ms. Cruz, Ms. Cruz, please have a seat.
That is telling children to lie. Okay? We cannot expect good morality from our students if they're being told to lie. Okay?
Ms. Cruz, you're muted. Please have a seat.
We were saying that if there's looking for demons, if we're looking for demons in every
Ms. Cruz, please. Next is Ed Torosian. Next is Ed Torosian. That's all right. That's all right, I'll go.
Between administrators and teachers, that the teachers go on and keep showing YouTube on pride and on homosexuality and to ignore the parents. So please do not gaslight the parents that we do not know what's going on. If we do not know what is going on, it is because of your lack of transparency when parents ask what kind of curriculum is being taught, and you guys act like it's all hunky-dory and everything is perfect. No, it is not. No, I don't think a single parent...
All right, Ms. Cruz, I think you are now complete. We have heard your comments, your written comments. All right.
I don't think a single parent here, on that side of the room anyways, approved Mark Keppel's library book about I am no longer a girl. No, because parents need to know. I am not here to change this.
Okay, we will take a recess. We will take a recess. Mr. Yulmesekian, just a 5-minute recess. 5-minute recess. 5-minute recess. Trying to take over the meeting. So we will recess for 5. Okay. We took a exactly 5-minute recess so that things could be calmer, so that we can continue. We have lots of cards. We are going to hear from everyone who has a card and who wants to speak at this meeting. We are committed to hearing you and to also reading what you write to us. And in order to be able to do that, we have to continue in a calm manner. And next is Ed Torosian. Yes.
Check. Yeah, thank you. Evil has always been trying to gain access into our school's curriculum and children's classrooms. It used to be easy to spot. Now it comes disguised in bright, colorful packages hidden in a new policy or progressive programs. The leadership at the district level serves as gatekeepers, protecting our youth from harm. The gatekeeper role is your most important job. Glendale Unified has always been the bedrock of sound and moral ideals and a great place to send our children to school. But today, our elected leaders have failed us. Seeing Glendale Unified shown on national news for embracing a woke agenda is shocking to this community. Never in my wildest imagination did I ever expect to see people who we elected as gatekeepers will be part of the problem. Simply put, any teacher, counselor, administrator, or board member who seeks an aid to promote of evil should be disciplined and removed from their position. Protecting our children starts at the top right here with you. Thank you.
Greg Alexanian.
It is not a good evening, so I won't say it. SB 866 was a bill to allow minors to get vaccinated without parental consent, and it died. Why? Because what's obvious then and what is still very clear now, the state cannot interfere with the role of a parent. As saying, and they failed because we were ready to take that to court, by the way. As saying, we are ready to go to court with this as well. The matter of indoctrination going on at GUSD, as well as the broad brush silencing mechanism known as SB 596. Look, whatever people like to do or think is right is based on their own moral compass and understanding of life and the life after. It is their right. There is no judgment on people, only on action. As such, there is no justification of actions in having sexual conversations, videos, etc. with minors, plus deliberately withholding that information. That sounds criminal. Speaking of rights, where are the rights of the Christian family set of morals? On how this great nation was founded on? Bottom line, there is no room for hate. Please do not hate the parents' innate right to raise their children. There's no room for hate against Christians, Jewish, and Muslim family faith values who unanimously stand against the sexual content that you're giving across the board. Even criminals know how to deal with this type of people in the prison system. We ask the board to take up.
Okay. Thank you. Next speaker is Giovanni Higambar. Go ahead.
Hello, good evening. My name is Gianni Higginbotham. I'm 16 years old. I go to Hoover High School. Thank you, board, for tonight. And I would like to say that Black and Glendale youth is going to be more vocal around here, and that I do come from African American and Jewish heritage, and hate should not be tolerated. Thank you very much.
And next card is Jim Armani. And I'm not able to see the last name or the other name. Simon? Okay.
Hello, my name is Jael Armani Simon. I am a 8th grader that goes to Toll Middle School, and I am 13 years old. I'm here to talk about the hate speech that has been going on in our schools and in GUSD in general. I have been hate crimed myself, and it is not a fun experience for anybody my age or anybody at all as an adult, as a board member, or as a student to experience. It is not a fun time. It should not be tolerated, and in this boardroom I have seen and have experienced as much hate as has been people who have experienced it around the world and in the city. I do not think it is a great idea. As a community and as a city, I think we should all come together in a calm a calm manner and report this as a community, so we can all get our points across as an even plate, so we all get our voices heard, and so nobody's talking over. I do think this is the most important thing that should be talked about. Thank you.
Okay. Jordan Henry. Jordan Henry. Says gender curriculum. Okay. Next is Gayane Adamian.
Good evening. On top of all of the parents that have rightfully spoken their minds, I wanted to show you a blurred out vision of an image of a child at an incident at Wilson Middle School, which I know a lot of you are aware of. This happened sometime in February of this year. You sent out a heartwarming and informative email, but that was no incident. It was a direct physical abuse upon an unsuspecting student. Both of these abusers should be reprimanded to the fullest the district has for such this terrible act. Enough tough has to be enacted. And you guys are comfortable in adding some type of security every single time I come to the district office, rightfully so. But schools, elementary, junior high, high school, and even colleges should have an SRO, school resource officer. If there is a school resource officer in school, children will think twice to become a bad seed and have an incident. And this was an off topic. This was not SB 590 or anything else.
Like I said earlier, and paused folks gently, I'm going to pause you gently to say that you are right. And so if we can add 4 more minutes.
Thank you. Let me please continue saying the email that I have multiple times sent. Some of you have not even responded, while Dr. Ekchen has actually given me an informative information of what they plan to do and what they have in place. However, it's still not enough. What I can say is, even though this did not happen to my child, many parents, such as myself, are immensely furious about this, as you all should be too. As a parent, I'd like to know what you all are doing in efforts to stop such heart-wrenching and horrendous acts being done on our children. What preventative tasks are you all in favor of? A wellness room in every school? Are you kidding me? For a child to go and say, hurt my feelings? No. You're supposed to have an SRO, security, a guard, some type of a police officer who is not a form of suppression, who is not a form of hate speech, and children are not going to be afraid if there's a security guard or a police officer in school. They will feel comfortable and confident. Just like you all have a lovely GPD police officer here, all our students should have a GPD police officer too. You are telling me that funds, it's through GPD, Glendale Police Department, and I think that that's not even sufficient. If you are spending time and allocating funds in all of these other school stuff that you want to add, why don't you allocate school funds to our children's and our staff's safety? It's not just the staff's well-being, it's our children's well-being too. I'm not done. An SRO on campus is going to deter bad seeds from initiating conflicts, physical or otherwise. An SRO on campus is going to deter strange individuals like Crescenta Valley stranger walking inside a school with some kind of a duffel bag. Walked inside, nobody knew how he came in, the school was on lockdown, and nobody knew how he came out. Jesus Christ. It is mind-blowing how simple tasks such as this, an SRO, school resource officer, isn't being considered, and yet you are all playing around conversation on our child's safety. Whenever an incident occurs, you send similar emails of hate speech, and we're looking into it. We've talked to everybody. Please be kind to each other. This is 2023. Everybody got rattled up with the whole lockdown in 2020 for the last few years. Everybody's all confused and crazy. People are going to start going a little crazy, and so will the children. But if you have respectable adults that are not just adults on campus, like what is it called? A therapist? No, we don't need therapists. We need school resource officers. That is what we need. Stop sending school funds on wellness rooms and make our schools safe. If Principal Kasabian, who is the principal at the Wilson Middle School, shares her priority that all schools are to be safe place for students, then why are we not seeing imminent actions being taken to place measurements and adding SROs? Lastly, I would like to add, if you care so much, shouldn't you follow up on communicating with the chief of police, having a conversation? Follow up with it. See what's important. What can you do to allocate funds and bringing some funds back together? You can't just throw it on the police chief or the city council and say this is the limit of what we can do. You guys need to understand that is very important. And lastly, Kelly King must go.
Okay. Sergey Esayan. We have 2 more cards. We are listening to the public comment, and let's listen to the next speaker. Go ahead.
Good evening, everyone. During this week of appreciation of our teachers, I want to say thank you to the teachers that do the right thing. Every day they have hardest job, one of the hardest job on this planet. Number one, that I want to thank Ray Sheldon and ask the board to reconsider decision about him being excluded from Mark Keppel. Ray, thank you so much for doing the right thing, standing with our children. I want to thank the teacher of basketball. I loved it, coach. Thank you so much. And I want to thank and recognize every single teacher that does the right thing every day, not listening to whatever they're being told, whatever is not right thing to do. But they keep doing it and risking their jobs, risking their income, and that means a lot. Because we trust the most precious thing. We trust them. They spend more time with them than we are as parents. So thank you all the teachers. Thank you.
Eric Adamian.
Instead of teaching children all that they can be, you adopted a curriculum that imposes all that they can't be.
Is the mic on?
I'm loud enough. That's fine.
One moment. We want the folks who are also. One moment, please. One moment, please. Mr. Schluter. Okay. Okay. The red light is on.
The green light here?
Oh, here we go. Okay. Now you are able to be heard. Go ahead.
Instead of teaching children all that they can be, you have adopted a curriculum that imposes all that they can't be. Why can't they be? This is much different than the values and teachings of 2 decades ago, where children were taught critical thinking skills, math, science, history, and English. Instead, now you're promoting sexualization through textbooks, videos that are pornographic and shameful. Audience members, parents, if the board members don't change their ways, particularly the sexualization of young children, will you re-elect them next election? No! If the board members continue to push indoctrination in schools to our children, will you re-elect them in the next election? No! People in the audience, if the change you want does not come, are you willing to help knock on doors, pass out flyers, and replace these members? Yes! Board members, both of us understand what has happened here. Now, I don't believe you are bad people or have bad intentions toward children. However, you know better. Would you want any of your impressionable young kids to be persuaded by the things that are going to make their lives harder or better? History has shown that there are very few people that have gender dysphoria. It is a rare condition, and they need specialized help.
So that
However,
is time.
We will not impose a cookie-cutter curriculum for impressionable young children and create a curriculum as if it is common. Up until 6 years ago,
And so your time is up.
it was not a popular topic among young children and young students. Why is it all of a sudden now?
And
School boards are promoting and indoctrinating these.
Mr. Adamian, was that the card? Okay. All right. So you are muted, but
Board members, do you want your community members to be proud of?
all right. That is time. Jordan Henry on SB 596.
This is a different topic. Sean, did you teach your son?
So, okay, that's not okay. Yeah. So we're taking his time. Go Go ahead. And let me turn on your mic.
Good to go. Thank you. Thank you for taking my comments today. Nothing that you guys are doing is okay, even though you feel like you're justified by the law. What you're doing is a misinterpretation of the law. You may think it's on your side, you are wrong. You may think that you can't do a goddamn thing about it, but you can. Clearly you can, because you and the teachers union are pushing SB 596. And the language in that bill is so vague. It is designed to be weaponized against these parents, against these taxpayers. It says that harassment or similar conduct shall be considered a misdemeanor if it occurs after school hours. This is after school hours. I'm holding a sign that says Kelly King must go. Is this harassment? Is it? The legal definition of harassment includes actions that might annoy, quote unquote, annoy a teacher. Do you think the parents in attendance tonight are annoying? Am I annoying? Actions are considered harassment if it serves no legitimate purpose. We, the parents and the taxpayers and the community of Glendale, we firmly believe that our concerns are legitimate. But do you consider them legitimate, Jennifer? The law also says that harassment could cause emotional distress or serious alarm to a teacher. Have we caused emotional distress by getting over 3,500 Glendale signatures to remove Kelly King from her position? Are each of those signatories guilty of causing serious alarm? Furthermore, it's time that you listen to the 3,500 Glendale residents who want Kelly King removed, who risked putting their names on that petition. These policies must change. You will lobby for SB 596 with the teacher union support, but you will not listen to the parents and work with them to change these egregious misinterpretations of federal and state law. You have shown your bias. You represent the teachers and you ignore the parents, Jennifer. And we will do everything in our power to remove you from these seats. These people are not messing around. I am not messing around. We will do everything within our power to fight this. Will SB 596 also protect teachers who disagree with your agenda, like Ray Shelton? Both Ray and I received death threats that Glendale PD is now investigating as a hate crime, a legitimate hate crime. Are you aware of that? I'm sure you are. GUSD consistently emphasizes sexual and racial identities of its teachers and students. Ray is both gay and a member of a Native American tribe here in California. Yet none of you defended him when he was accused of being a Nazi. And other obvious and real forms of hate speech used against him, like the F word that doesn't rhyme with luck. Speaking of hate speech, Ray was removed from his classroom because of defamatory complaints made against him by Alicia Harris and Jennifer Muchik. To be clear, both of those complaints were received after he was removed from his classroom. So why was he removed? Was it the complaints? I don't think that's possible. We have timestamps. We're not dumb, even though you think we are. Talian Arsenian on Facebook wrongfully accused Ray and me and other parents of being Nazis. How is that not hate speech? How do you not speak out against that, Vivian? She made it clear that she thinks we are engaging in genocidal language in front of Armenians by exercising our God-given First Amendment rights. Ray's principal, Christine Tonoli, condemned Ray's actions as hate speech without due process and without proper investigation and with total disregard for the legal requirement of confidentiality. We all saw that email. We all see what you're doing. Dr. Ekshian also put out a statement that condemned hate speech, which simply did not apply to Ray Shelton, and you know it. So I'll ask you now, do you condemn the harassment that you, the board, your teachers, your union, other members of the community inflicted upon Ray? Will you be held to the same legal standard as parents in SB 596, this nonsense bill? Do you admit that your teachers have wrongfully accused parents of being Nazis and using genocidal language? Do you? Are you going to make a statement? Don't you see that you're all hypocrites? Shant, you are a hypocrite. You are singling out a gay Native American with defamatory harassment. Look at yourselves. We see you. Do you see you?
All right, so that concludes our public comment, and I'd like to. So there's no such thing. In fact, that's like no such thing. Okay, so she is fine, and so we are going to go to closed session now, and we will be back. We'll be back at 7:30.